Welcome, everyone, to the fourth and our final session of our Ring and Rhyme webinar series. I have had so much fun putting these together, and it has been walking down memory lane for a lot of different projects we've done over the years. Today, we are going to be focusing on nursery rhymes. We're going to have some fun playing with nursery rhymes and learning about the importance to early language development. So if you don't know me, my name is Donna Throckmorton, and I'm a library services consultant with the Arizona State Library Archives and Public Records. So early literacy in libraries is so important because libraries create such a language-rich environment. But we don't just support the kiddos, we support the families, the parents, and the caregivers. And these are things that we want to share with them as they come to our library programming. So, to become successful readers, children need an understanding that written letters represent spoken sounds. Children also need comprehension skills to understand the meaning of print, and they develop those comprehension skills from a rich foundation of background knowledge and a broad vocabulary. So the library is the perfect place to help them build that background knowledge as well as develop new vocabulary. Children develop decoding and comprehension skills through the interactions with their caring adults as well as the environment. So we are here to help families support their littles in developing early literacy. And that brings us to the ring of rhymes and nursery rhymes. So, to support libraries in providing early literacy, the state library created the ring of rhymes. Originally, they were just this little set of nursery rhymes in English and Spanish. This is why we call the whole set Ring of Rhymes, is because they begin with the nursery rhymes, and each card has the nursery rhyme in English on one side and Spanish on the back side, and a short parent tip on each card. So nursery rhymes are extremely valuable to support early language development. It helps to build confidence and prepare children for reading and writing as they get older. So nursery rhymes have rhythm, and rhythm is universal, and parents should use sing-song speech like nursery rhymes when they're with their babies as early as possible. So babies learn language through rhythmic patterns rather than phonetic details during their first few months. Plus, nursery rhymes and poems are great fun to share with young children. So we are going to have a little bit of fun with a nursery rhyme. We are going to play a nursery rhyme Mad Lib. So get ready to type something into the chat. Make sure you have your chat open. And in your chat, I want you to enter these 5 things in the same chat field. So first is a place number 1, and then pick a different place. So place number 2, pick a food and a number between 1 and 10. And then an expression. So something you would say to convey an emotion. So like if I was really excited about something, I might say, wow. Or if I was really disappointed, I might say bummer. Or if I was upset, okay, we won't say what I might say if I was upset. So go ahead and enter place number 1. It could be where you are. It could be where you wish you were. Place number 2, a food, a number between 1 and 10, and an expression. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Someone is feeling like tacos. All right, we're going to come back to that. But first, I wanted to give you a little bit of history about nursery rhymes. They date from the 16th, 17th, and 18th century. And according to Britannica, most were originally composed for adult entertainment, and many were popular ballads or songs. The earliest known published collection of nursery rhymes was Tommy Thumb's Song Book. It included Little Tom Tucker and Sing a Song of Sixpence, and that's the image on the left. Probably the most influential was the Mother Goose's Melody or Sonnets from the Cradle, which was published in 1781. And you will recognize many of these poems. So among its 51 rhymes were Jack and Jill, Ding Dong Bell, and Hushabye Baby on the Treetop. An edition of this was reprinted in the United States in 1785 by Isaiah Thomas. All right, we ready to go to our Mad Libs? Let's see, whose Mad Lib should I use for the Three Little Pigs? We are going to go with April's. She's April's is this little piggy went to the kitchen. This little piggy stayed in the yard. This little piggy had hamburger, and this little piggy had seven. And this little piggy went, wow, all the way home. Would anyone else like to unmute and read their Mad Lib nursery rhyme? Come on, who's brave? No one. No one wants to read theirs. Okay, I will read Tamara's out loud. This little piggy went to home. This little piggy stayed at work, which is the library. This little piggy had Cheez-Its, and this little piggy had three, and this little piggy went, good grief, all the way home. So that's a fun little game that you can play with older children to talk about nursery rhymes. So the reason I selected this little piggy was because it is the first of our nursery rhymes in the Ring of Rhymes. And you'll notice that the card has the rhyme and some actions that the parent and the child can do together, as well as a parent tip. So in regards to the parent tip, um, if the primary adult in a child's life can learn more about the importance of early literacy and how to nurture early literacy skills at home, your effect and the library's efforts can be multiplied many times over. We might remind parents that they can help their child learn language and other literacy skills simply by singing and saying nursery rhymes because it helps build vocabulary and develop skills needed to learn to read later in life. Phonetic information, which is the smallest sound elements of speech, is considered key to language development. But a study shows that babies don't process phonetic details reliably until around 7 months old. Instead, rhythmic speech, which includes nursery rhymes, helps babies recognize word boundaries, supporting language learning, even before they understand phonetic sounds. The study, which tracked brain activity in infants, revealed that phonetic encoding develops gradually over the first year. So, this suggests that rhythmic speech plays a crucial role in early language acquisition. So, after that first 7 months to a year, children at a very young age can recognize that cat rhymes with mat. In making this connection, they detect the word segment of at because rhyming words that have the same sounds in common often share spelling sequences in their written form. So, children who are familiar with rhymes are well equipped to develop their later reading. By making children aware that words share sounds, um, rhymes help prepare them to learn that such words often have spelling sequences in common too. So even though they may not realize it, we're building the foundation blocks of reading. Children's reading success in kindergarten and beyond begins with positive language and literacy experiences from the time that they are infants. If children develop pre-reading skills before they start kindergarten, they can focus on learning to read once they begin school. So here's some activities that would probably be appropriate for preschoolers. You can create word families with our lovely magnetic letters so you may want to set it up with words that end in the same two letters and have the child put other letters in front of the word ending to create those rhyming words. Tap, tap, map, lap. So you can do this, incorporate it into your library programming, or you can pass along this information to parents. Another fun thing to do is to start to read a poem and leave off the final word and see if the child can fill in the missing rhyming word. I think this could also be a fun test for the caregivers, especially with some of those traditional nursery rhymes that maybe the children haven't been exposed to yet, but many parents may barely remember them from their childhood. So if you were to say, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread. And have the child or whoever you're working with finish the sentence. That really helps reinforce the importance of rhyming. Another fun thing you can do with the kiddos as they're getting older is you can write one line of a poem and then have your child write the next line. And if they're not writing yet, you can ask them to tell you what the next line will be. So you want to help them match the rhythm and rhyming the last word. So make sure you pick an easy word to rhyme with. But don't forget, rhyming words can also be nonsense words. They don't have to be real words when you're working together with young children. But when I was thinking about choosing hard words or easy words to rhyme with, I thought, oh, what is one of the words that's really challenging? I think orange is one that's pretty well known that is really hard to rhyme with. Do you guys have any other words that you can think of that are really challenging to rhyme? Crayon? Yeah, that's a good one. How about purple? Can you think of anything that rhymes with purple? I'd love to hear it if you could come up with purple, a rhyme with purple. Yeah, if you think of other words that are really hard to rhyme with, you can drop them in the chat. So, an early literacy site that is recommended from Saroj Goting, and you can find a million resources at earlylit.net that you may want to share after you've played a rhyming game, like on the previous slide where they finished the rhyme for you. So you might want to say to the caregivers, remember the rhyming song game that we played earlier? You can play this little game any place, anytime you are with your children. In the car, waiting in line at the doctor's office, these little things you do all add up to make a difference in helping your child be ready to learn to read. When you help them hear and make rhymes, you are helping your child develop phonological awareness, hearing the smaller sounds in words, so they can later sound out words when they learn to read. So here's an additional idea for maybe some of the reluctant readers or those kids who just say, I don't like to read. So even the really young ones, beginning readers, you can do poetry books instead. They're shorter, they're more manageable, and they are often very silly. So it really makes reading poetry fun and it builds that positive experience with literacy, right? So when I think of silly poetry song or poetry, I think of Shel Silverstein, of course, but there's a ton of silly poetry books out there. Do any of you have a favorite poetry book? If you want to share it in the chat, I'm sure other people would love to look up the books that you would recommend. Our second nursery rhyme in the Ring of Rhymes is Two Little Blackbirds, and the Jayberry website has a really great version. It has 9 verses, and so it has a lot of silly verses included. So if you haven't accessed the Jayberry website, they have great resources. So you can often find, if you need help for how the tune goes, this is a great resource because you may know the nursery rhyme, but you're not sure how to sing it. So remember, we want to provide opportunities for that positive language and literacy experience, especially from the time they are infants. The literacy experience with young children can also build a bonding experience with the parents. So here are some points you can make to the parents and caregivers. You have been your child's teacher from the day he or she was born. You know more about your child than anyone else. You are in the best position to help your child get ready to read. Another tip you could provide is young children have shorter attention spans. You can do activities for short bits of time throughout the day, and you can help your children learn in ways and at times that are best for them. So, children's reading success in kindergarten and beyond begins with positive experiences. So, if young children become restless while reading a book or singing time, encourage caregivers to switch activities or vary the interaction by adding, an unusual voice or a puppet or involving more finger play. And this applies to library presenters as well. If you're losing your audience during story time, switch it up, sing a different song, play a different or read a different book. You can do that in your story times as well. So we need to be careful when we're selecting the rhymes and songs that we want to use in our story times. We want to ensure that they are relevant and appropriate. We want to introduce new and alternative versions of rhymes, especially if they have a quirky rhythm and lyrics, which really make it fun for everybody. But there are so many variations out there. You can find a lot of great resources, taking a traditional nursery rhyme and jazzing it up. Um, you might make sure you also include those traditional rhymes and songs because the parents are more likely to remember them and they may be more likely to continue that at home after they've experienced it during one of your programs. But also ask them what their favorite nursery rhymes from their childhood are and make sure you incorporate some of their traditions into the nursery rhymes that you share. So children benefit from any of the songs and any of the rhymes, so why not choose from a wide, diverse collection? We don't need to stick to the Eurocentric canon. Children can learn about songs, poetry, or sounds they can learn about sounds from songs, poetry, and nursery rhymes from all over the world and from all kinds of cultures. And so some nursery rhymes, such as 10 Little Indians, perpetuates negative stereotypes and roles, and we should refrain from using things like that. So make sure you're educated on the ones you're sharing. So this is a great resource. The New York Public Library has a website called Culturally Diverse Nursery Rhymes. And in addition, the socialjusticebooks.org also has some great um, resources as far as books that include diverse poetry. That Neighborhood Mother Goose was recommended on many different websites, so I definitely check out that one. So next is the Eensy Weensy Spider. So nursery rhymes can also help with the hand coordination and building that dexterity. And I used to always do the Eensy Weensy Spider with my thumb and my pointer finger and crawl up. And I'm not sure if all kids have the coordination to do that yet. So I really love the suggestions to have The child or the caregiver use the fingers to crawl up the baby's arm. And then maybe if they're old enough, they can reciprocate by crawling up the grown-up's arm. There's also a great article on ALSC website about a Mother Goose program that families flock to. And I may have put that on 2 slides, come to think of it. But anyway, it's a Mother Goose 100% song story time for littles 0 to 2. So this parent tip from the previous card reminds the parent to incorporate these early literacy activities all throughout the day and at times when you may not think about it. It's not just story time at night or it's not just preschool time. It's all of those little moments when we find ourselves with a few extra moments. Instead of handing the child a device, ask them, to play the rhyming game or pull out the ring of rhymes and find something that they can do together in that setting. Ah, yes, I knew I had coming up to that. So, nursery rhymes in the libraries. There was a library that created 100% musical story time, and they called it Mother Goose and More for infants and for toddlers through the age of 2 and their caregivers. And so, if you go to that link, it has all of the to-dos. Some of the suggestions they provided in this article was to present your nursery rhymes in a variety of ways. Select picture books that you can sing and whose illustrations will carry the room, but also get up and move and make it very interactive and engaging. Incorporate new nursery rhymes, but also rely on the repetition because little ones love repetition. Seek out new ideas from others, and then always share an early literacy tip. So they created a list called Mother Goose's Top 10 Tips for Raising a Remarkable Reader. That's a long title, but I think it's very catchy. And so in that article, that resource is shared. So I'm sure you'll find lots of great information on that website. I think someone said that their favorite song was Frere Jacques, or their favorite nursery rhyme was Frere Jacques. And Whereas Thumbkin actually goes along to the same tune as Frere Jacques, or some of us know it as Are You Sleeping? Are You Sleeping? And this is Where is Thumbkin? Where is Thumbkin? So nursery rhymes often share similar tunes. Similar tunes make nursery rhymes easy for kids to remember, and many songs have been passed down through generations with the same tunes but different words. So, musical patterns in nursery rhymes create a sense of familiarity and comfort for those young listeners. The common melodies can tie different rhymes from various cultures together, and simple melodies help kids focus on the lyrics and story of the rhyme. So, do you know of any nursery rhymes that share the same tune? When I was first thinking about this, I thought Baa Baa Black Sheep, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and ABCs all share the same tune. Baa Baa Black Sheep, have you any wool? Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So, do you know of others that might share a common melody? Repetition across nursery rhymes plays a vital role in developing memory skills and aiding children in learning new words. When similar tunes are used in a different nursery rhyme, children's brains naturally pick up the pattern, making it easier for them to remember the words. And here is a great resource for you. If you have one of the Every Child Ready to Read binders, this is a book list on books that you can sing. And so this is definitely getting dated because the Every Child Ready to Read was published a long time ago. I think the most recent book was a 2010, but hey, it's Pete the Cat, and everyone loves Pete the Cat still. But I also wanted to note that Five Little Ducks, written by Raffi, is on this list. And I think that is when the Five Little Ducks became probably the most popular because who doesn't love Raffi? I think he was one of the original entertainers to really go crazy with children's songs. So the fifth nursery rhyme in our Ring of Rhymes is Five Little Ducks. And what I really love about these uh, Ring of Rhymes is that it tells the parents how they can do the hand motions. And so the hand motions help babies. And some other songs that you can do hand motions are is like Wheels on the Bus. And it's a great song to work on fine motor skills like body awareness and crossing the midline. This song has a lot of verses, which means you can do as many or as few as you like. And um, how about shut them? Singing and moving to open and shut them will give the child a chance to practice finger dexterity and grasping. Five in the bed, which is sometimes called roll over, is a simple finger play that helps them become aware of body awareness and hand division. It assists in developing memory and reinforces counting. And depending on the age of the child or the attention span of your child, they can count to five or they can count to 10. Pat a cake. I mean, that's a classic nursery rhyme. This finger play song addresses crossing the midline, hand-eye coordination, body awareness, and encourages social interaction. So here I linked in the middle this series from the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. They have a nice little video series that's intended for parents and caregivers to watch, and it's called Rhyme Time. So once I share these out with you, you can click on the link and you can enjoy those short little videos. So I mentioned the midline a couple of times, so I wanted to address that a little bit. So crossing the midline benefits development by strengthening the connection between the left and right hemispheres of the brain, which is crucial for coordinated movement, fine motor skills, visual perception, and it really does uh, help skills like reading and writing, helping them to use both sides of their body together smoothly and efficiently. So we can encourage midline crossing in babies, and we want to have activities where they are encouraged to reach for toys that are across the body, play with toys that require reaching across the midline, doing finger plays, tummy time activities, sensory play. All of these things are helping babies cross the midline. And older children really benefit from this as well. So as parents and babies do these activities together, especially when they're face to face, it is a form of serve and return because you're doing something, the baby's responding, they are responding to your voice and your actions, and then you are responding to their facial expressions. So I just wanted to play this video about serve and return.
The key to forming strong brain architecture is what's known as serve and return interaction with adults. In this developmental game, new neural connections form in the brain as young children instinctively serve through babbling, facial expressions, and gestures. And adults return the serve, responding in a very directed, meaningful way. It starts very early in life when a baby coos and the adult interacts and directs the baby's attention to a face or hand. This interaction forms the foundation of brain architecture upon which all future development will be built. It helps create neural connections between all the different areas of the brain, building the emotional and cognitive skills children need in life. For example, here's how it works for literacy and language skills. When the baby sees an object, the adult says its name. This makes connections in the baby's brain between particular sounds and their corresponding objects. Later, adults show young children that those objects and sounds can also be represented by marks on a page. With continued support from adults, children then learn how to decipher writing and eventually to write themselves. Each stage builds on what came before. Ensuring that children have adult caregivers who consistently engage in serve and return interaction, beginning in infancy, builds a foundation in the brain for all the learning, behavior, and health that follow.
So that brings us to our final nursery rhyme card, which includes Starlight, Star Bright, and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And the parent tip on this one does encourage caregivers and parents to seek out more resources from the library and library staff. So you are a valuable resource to the adults that come to your programs. So make sure you have materials ready, either printables or the ring of rhymes or books set out in a book display, maybe a list of online resources that you think that the caregiver or parent would enjoy. One resource that is really fun is this book list that has books with rhymes and poems. And so this is something you could pass along to them. And if you don't have access to the Every Child Ready to Read manual, I'm happy to get you a copy of this PDF. You know, I've mentioned Every Child Ready to Read a couple of times today. So if you're not familiar with that, they are workshops for parents and caregivers that helps them understand how important their role is in getting kids ready to read and the little things that they can do that we all know are important, but helping them understand the why to what we're doing and helping them incorporate easy things that will help get those kids ready to learn to read. So initially, the early Every Child Ready to Read had first edition had the 6 literacy skills, which included print awareness, letter knowledge, print motivation, phonological awareness, vocabulary, and narrative skills. So we know those 6 literacy skills are really important. And we are teaching those things even when we talk about the 5 practices, which came out in the second edition of talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing. And you know, much of my work, whenever we plan trainings, create resources, we rely on the 5 practices from Every Child Ready to Read, which is basically the foundation of a lot of the work that we're all doing. So that is a resource that is available to you. If you have any interest in further trainings on that, please let me know. We are going to skip the breakout room in this virtual version. And that brings us to the resources. So World Nursery Rhyme Week has many different resources that you might find interesting. The Storytime Kids Rhyme webinar is available on Niche Academy for Arizona Library staff. And if you are not already have an account with Niche Academy, you can just go to the website and request an account and use your work email address, and you'll be approved fairly quickly. Mother Goose on the Loose is a great resource, and the Scottsdale Public Library has a nice YouTube playlist with lots of different nursery rhymes. If you need help knowing the tune to a certain nursery rhyme, or you want to see how another one of your library colleagues might present a nursery rhyme, that's a really great resource. And so these will be part of a YouTube playlist on Arizona Libraries YouTube channel. So I already have the 3 webinars that we already did posted, and I'll be adding this one. So you can go to the link to this playlist and access this recording once I get it posted, as well as all of the others. And if you would be so kind to scan this QR code and complete the webinar evaluation once you finish this one or any of the others. And I'm Donna, and if you have any questions or you want to share a really great program you're doing, I am always happy to hear from you, and you can email me there.